Okay, so in this video, we are going to work on making a event listener that's actually going to give you some control over characters in your scene. So right now, if we run our program, it'll just kind of run through the instructions of the scene, and that's it. It would be nice to be able to interact with the things that are on the scene, though. So I'm going to close this out, and I'm just going to drag this instruction of Alice eating the mushroom into the trash. So now when the scene starts, nothing happens. If we hit run, boop, nothing at all. She just sits there. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a new event listener. And what we're going to do is say, let's look for when the arrow keys are pressed. And what we'll try to do is get it to be that the arrow keys can be used to control Alice, the object. So I'm going to add an arrow press key listener. So this, the whole scene, the whole movie, is listening for when an arrow key gets pressed. And when it does, it's going to do these statements. So one of the things that might happen when an arrow key gets pressed is I might have Alice turn. So I'm going to take Alice's procedures or methods, and I'm going to drag one of these up here. And for right now, I'm just going to put in have her to turn right. So right now it says anytime any key is pressed, have her turn right. So let's test this. And I know you can't see what I'm typing, but I'm going to hit the right key, and she turned right. I'm going to hit the left key, and she still turned right. I hit the up key, and she turns right. I hit the down key, she turns right. So the instruction says when any arrow key is pressed, turn to the right. But you'll notice that in most of the statements you can use in this program, there's a drop-down menu that allows you to select from category, but you can also swap other things into it. So you might be asking, why are these green boxes up here? Well, these can be swapped into certain places. When I mouse over this get turn direction, a box appears here because I can actually say, get the direction of the turn based on the arrow key. So now when I hit run, if I hit the right arrow key, she turns right, but if I hit the left arrow key, she turns left. Now that looks great. The only downside is if I hit the up arrow key, she starts to kind of dive into the earth, and if I hit the left arrow key, she kind of spins back. So I said, well, maybe I only want to turn based on the left and right arrow key, not the up and down arrow key. Now, you can imagine that if this were, say, a plane, where if I was a fish character, I might want to be able to turn up and down. So it's not that this is a bad feature, it's just that I haven't put enough programming into it. So what I'm going to do is use a conditional statement. And in this case, I'm going to use an if conditional statement. I'm going to drag this up here. And an if statement, it says, if some condition is true, do these statements. Otherwise, do these other statements. So I want to come up with a phrase for whether or not I should be turning. So what I'm going to do, if I select this drop down, is I'm going to put in an either or statement. So if we think about our logic gates when we're talking about hardware, an or statement says if either things are the case. So one thing that might be the case is that the key that was pressed was a left key. The other thing that might be the case is the key that was pressed was a right key. Oh, I think I wrote over the whole thing. Let's try that again. Either or, and we say either the key is right or the key is left. So if the right key or the left key were pressed, then I should turn. So let's try running this one more time. Not doing anything. If I hit the right key, Alice turns to the right. If I hit the left key, Alice turns to the left. If I hit the up key, nothing happens. If I hit the down key, nothing happens. Great. So now that begs the question, well, if I didn't hit the left or the right key, but an arrow key was pressed, I must have hit the up or down key. So what do I want to do with the up and down key? Maybe I just want to move to or from something, or move forward or backwards. So I can say, hey, Alice, if I hit the up or down key, move forward, let's say 1 meter. We'll tell her to move forward. But again, rather than say always move forward, what I might want to do is say get a move direction based on the event. So you can see these green boxes up here contain information, and they have this little yellow box event in the front. That says some event happened, an arrow key was pressed, and I want to take information from that event. So this one gets the turn direction based on the arrow key being pressed, and this one's going to get my move direction based on the arrow key being pressed. So I'm going to go down here and say, boop, move forward or backward based on whether or not I hit up or down. And keep in mind, this will only get executed if I didn't hit left or right. So an if-else statement says, if I hit left or right, do this code, ignore that section. Otherwise, do this code, ignore that section. So let's try running it. Turn right, that works. Turn left, that works. I'm going to hit the up arrow, and Alice moves forward. Hit the back arrow, and Alice moves backward. So I now have a character that I can control in 3D space. So this could become, what you might call a very simple video game. Now, if we go back, we're going to go modify something. I had this method called Alice Eats a Mushroom, where she turned to face it, said, look, a tasty mushroom, and then she moved forward. I'm going to change something. I'm going to take this move forward out of here, since now I have the ability to move Alice anyway. I'll pull that out. There we go. And what I'm going to do is put in another event listener. So this event listener, I'm going to say, if I get really close to the mushroom. So we're going to say, let's add a proximity, or distance between two things, event listener. And this one's a little bit goofier to set up. And I'm going to say if Alice gets within, let's say, 0.25. So the first thing I am concerned about is Alice. The second thing I'm concerned about is the mushroom. So it says, hey, if Alice gets close to the mushroom and within 0.25 meters, what do you want to have happen? It's like, oh, well, in that case, I want Alice to eat the mushroom. Do this method, Alice eats the mushroom. So remember, this is a method of the scene. There it is. So I'm going to go to my event listeners, and this says, if Alice gets within 0.25 of the mushroom, I want her to eat the mushroom. So now let's run the scene. Well, remember, I can control Alice. So right now I'm using the arrow keys to kind of have her walk around. And if I get really close to this mushroom, right, she orients herself, says that message, eats the mushroom, and blows up. So I now have the ability to control a character, and I've also given the character some artificial intelligence. This event listener is something that can be easily programmed to say there's something that could happen in the game, and when it does, I want this set of instructions that I've already defined to happen. So that is a quick walkthrough of two different types of event listeners. There are more. You can have just the scene active. So when the scene comes on, you can have things happen at a set amount of time. Things happen as a response to the keyboard or the mouse being pressed, and things happen when they are either close to each other, no longer close to each other, etc. So again, a quick walkthrough of event listeners in the Alice platform.